Hare Krishna and Gauranga. Welcome to another short KC on the go with myself, Janardhan Das. So, I think this is probably going to be the theme for all of these little talks or videos or whatever they are. Is I have forgotten that I had an idea at the time, and then due to busyness and due to different things, job, kids, family life, temple life, and so on and so forth, I've remembered now all of a sudden, I was supposed to speak about something I was inspired about. So I'm thinking it was maybe about a week ago or a couple of weeks ago. We were just in the city centre doing, a few things. Very rarely we ever actually go into the city centre, and unless it's actually to go to the temple for service, So we were going around the different shops, getting whatever we had to do. And I had the kids. My wife was in. She was her. It was her. It was doing all the different chores and so on. So I was just wandering freely, and I came past just the starting part of our Saturday daytime Harinam and books table. So the devotee there is very inspired, and he said to me, "Hey, come on, just stop for a little bit, Because I was thinking, well, I better get the kids back to the car. My kids are quite young, So I was thinking, right, well, it's not going to happen. But as I've always said many times, I am a Bhukti Shabura still at heart, even though not one so physically active. So I thought, yeah, okay, fine, let's just do 5-10 minutes. And because in life you always put your best foot forward, and in some cases you should put your best person forward. I was trying to call my wife and say, hey, come on, get yourself over here. We're going to do 5, 10, 20, whatever, 20 minutes on the street, because she's a nice Bhukti Shabura as well. She's actually better Bhukti Shabura than me. So I was like, okay, let's get her involved as well, At least make it effective. So generally speaking, and this is something that's never really happened to me, at least until recent years, is you read this kind of statement where it says, especially this is the teachings coming from Vaisheshika Prabhu and his kind of inspirational leadership and revival of Sankirtan in America and the ripples that's spreading across the world. And so he's saying, just touch the street. Don't worry about, selling a book. Don't worry about doing big. Don't worry about scores and results and this thing. The first initial goal is just to touch the street, and then whatever happens, the magic will come from there. So that was something that never applied to me really for many years, for 10, 15 something years of my life, maybe more than that. Even when I was in my teenage years, I was doing some book distribution with my dad. It wasn't a thing. It was just, I went out there and I was fired up and I just started doing books. I don't necessarily think I did a lot of books, but I did, I could know that I could at least do 20, 30, some 40, whatever books, depending on how much time I spent on the street, So to suddenly be in the situation where I very rarely often do it, so I'm, I'm kind of like, I've kind of, what do you say? I've been flip-sided in my book distribution, So now I'm also experiencing what it's like to just touch the street and hope something happens, And just that other day, I was, standing there on the street and I was trying to stop people and nothing was happening. But I was feeling so much bliss because I was thinking to myself, well, I'm out here trying to do the mission. I'm trying to be a representative of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan mission. And I was smiling at people and I was trying to stop them and I was having conversations and this, but it wasn't quite clicking. The books weren't going out, which of course is the ultimate goal. There's no doubt about that. And I certainly could give many classes or many talks on this, idea of selling lots of books and the effects of that and so on and so forth. But anyway, the point is, it's just to describe this kind of idea is that for the first time ever, I was also seeing like, wow, just being out there and touching the street and just meeting people and just saying, hey, Hare Krishna, and just trying to do something is also very blissful, And even just watching someone else, like eventually my wife showed up, and of course within a few minutes, she had the books in her hand and she was geared up, and the next minute, bump, she had one out, and I was thinking, she'd be the first one to go, But actually, it was ecstatic just watching the exchange, watching the flow, watching, So this is something else. This Sankirtan mission, this is essentially, dare I say it, the most satisfying activity for devotees. It is the most purifying, it is the most satisfying, and it brings rapid advancement. Because if you really want to go back to what I was saying, I won't really I didn't want to touch on the other stuff too much, but if you do come from the angle and say, right, I want to distribute many books for Srila Prabhupada, I want to be an advanced devotee and this thing, then as soon as you see that you're not suddenly, books are not going out and you're not clicking with people and you're not, or people are rejecting you, then you can start to look at your own self and say, well, what is it? What is it, And then you can obviously you say, right, I need to get my reading together, my philosophical understanding and my philosophical delivery. Because understanding can be fine, but how you speak to people, when to say it, what to say, and of course the main key thing is what comes out of that bead bag. And there's always it's a joke I really like, so I'll say it again. I don't think I've said it before, but you probably heard it many times before. There's more comes out of the bead bag than just your finger, So the bead bag it's a whole wealth of realizations and pleasures and so many things that come out of this chanting the holy name, in fact, and it's essentially speaking, the whole key to everything else that we do, Pujari services, book distribution, Harinam, Kirtan, devotee relations, working relations, family relations, everything, everything comes from good japa. So yeah, if you're seeing that you're out there and it's not clicking and and it's not happening, then think, oh, okay, maybe I need to work on something, maybe I have to go home and do the work. But I mean, again, as it says, the main thing is just touch the street. Just be out there, start approaching people, and you'll feel it. You'll feel this, wow, I'm trying to do something. And Lord Chaitanya, he will start to connect you, but it just takes time. We're only out there for like 10-15 minutes, so that, on a busy Saturday, there's a lot of people coming through. I'm not making excuses for myself, by the way. I also have to now, for the last week, I've been really doing extra rounds and trying to, build myself up again. But, but yeah, just touch the street and feel that wave of electric Krishna Prema, as when you're out there on the street, because as soon as you start meeting these people, you're connecting soul to soul and you're trying to push them back to Krishna. And that's what Krishna wants. That's what he says is the highest thing. Those who preach the Bhagavad Gita to others, those who speak, go out there and spread this philosophy, spread my name, spread my glories. Those are the most dear to me, So, that's it, And whatever comes, because many of the shlokas in the Bhagavad Gita speak about being detached from the results, So the freedom from pain and suffering and all these kind of things come when one is actually detached. So these are, again, Sankirtan is a wonderful way to put these shlokas into practice. Go out there without any mood of desire or, expectation, and just be a conduit for Lord Chaitanya's mercy. And I can assure you that as soon as your feet touches that mystical line of the city center and you start saying, hey, how are you? Boom, you're in the zone, Obviously, Srila Prabhupada would be pleased if you did 100 books or 300 books or 9,000 books. But just, be assured that either way, by trying something, you're in the right direction. Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.